what do people need, right? We got some people that are looking for clarity. We got some marriages looking for purpose. And then we got a lot of marriages that's been there for a while, but they may not have been the healthiest. So they may need a little resuscitation. So as we were thinking about it, I was like, hey, clarity, purpose, and resuscitation. Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point, you realized you were married into crazy.
And that's what our podcast is all about. We offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as we unpack this crazy thing called marriage.
So sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
All right, let's go.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy ET. Look, if you're looking to or you got to raise the bar on your marriage, you gotta click the link and get into Married into Crazy, y'all. I'm telling you, this coaching is gonna take your relationship to another level. Now look, you already know you need to raise the bar. You know that already. So stop thinking or overthinking. Click that link, and Marriage into Crazy is gonna take you and your spouse to marital bliss. Now you know. Click the button. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is Snooks, and welcome back to the Married into Crazy podcast. So we are going to pick up where we left off with episode 221, part B or part 2 with the Williams. I hope you guys really enjoyed them last week. They were really dropping some nuggets, so hopefully you took notes and you are really willing and ready, I should say, to apply the wisdom that they gave. So without further ado, here's part 2.
So it's funny. It actually started back during the youth ministry day, right? I was so into like, Lord, I'm gonna raise up this young generation. You know, I'm gonna mix my military experience with my Compton Street experience, and I'm gonna come out these great young men and women. And then as we got older and we were, working with the youth, we started realizing, like, you know what? It's not even the youth that got the problem. Mm-hmm. It's the drama from the parents falling on the youth. I was like, so I had a whole different approach. It's like, hey, we got to get at these parents. I got to find a way to get with these fathers that's not involved in these kids' lives, but find a cool way, like, because no man wants you to tell them what to do. So it's like, how can you bond with that father a little bit more, and then kind of sneak in the godly principles, right? And then as we were doing a youth ministry piece, and our pastor, had me doing different roles, and then I just got to the point and was like, I never want to be one of those people like I'm waiting for my pastor or even my commander to tell me, when it's time to change. I always want to be the person to go in front, like, hey, if you need me to move to some other area, I'm letting you know now, I'm okay with that. And I remember sharing that with the pastor, like, hey, I can't be a youth pastor forever. Eventually, I'm not going to be cool anymore. I'm okay with doing something different. And that moved from being youth pastor to education director. Then I became leader over the ministers training, right? And then after that, our pastor wanted to go into a new season of small group studies, and not just in the church, but in the community. And as she was figuring out how to break down the different groups, she was like, we need a married couples small group study. And she had reached out to us and said, hey, I would like for y'all to think about leading this small group study. I have no plan for what it should look like. I'm totally dependent on you guys to figure it out. And if we were, thinking about it, you would think that we would like jump right on it, but it was like, okay, we got a 1-year-old. How old was Joshua then? But we got a small child, don't have a babysitter.
No, we had all three of them.
Okay, no, we had all three. And it was like, okay, God, how are we going to do this? And then that week, sometime after that, our neighbor just happened to come up. Hey, I know that you guys, got the three. I just want to let y'all know that if you ever need a babysitter, my daughter would love it. And I'm like, okay, here's God putting stuff in motion.
That's right.
We didn't even realize it, right? And I was like, okay, so that's out the way. So what other excuse y'all got?
Yeah.
And it was like, got it. And that's kind of really how we got into it, was doing the small group Bible study. And we were like, and we were talking like, how we want this to look, because we definitely didn't want to come right out of the Bible. That was the first thing we do. We did not want to get from these couples, bringing all these scriptures and all this stuff. Like, we want to be raw, we want to be real, we want to be relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And we just started doing some research on all these different books. And we're like, man, all these cool books out there. Love and Respect, His Needs, Her Needs, Four Seasons of Marriage. I'm like, okay, so we'll get all these books and we'll kind of do it kind of like a book study. But we'll do it where we'll just bring realness with it.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were doing a sign up, it was so funny because it was like all the men at the church that respected Veronica was like, yeah, I just signed us up for the Bible study so you can tell my wife what she ain't doing, right? And then the wives is coming to me like, my husband don't know, but I just signed us up for the Bible study. He don't even know it yet, but I know that you're gonna tell him what he needs to do. So we're gonna be there on Thursday. I'm like, I would think y'all need to know this together, but however God do it, that's okay. And I tell you, everybody think every time we do something, it's like gold, but I'm like, no, it was not. Like me and Veronica sitting down, it's like that was toward the end, eventually of the Bible study. But when it first started, they were sitting like this, and it was like, is this this say married couple Bible study? Because y'all look kind of far apart. I see that cold block of ice there.
Oh my goodness.
It was like, okay, what did we really get into? And luckily, we always prayed and told the couples, whatever we say in here stays there. Because we had people that were not leaders in the church, and we had people that were leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, hey, our marriage is going to be on display this whole time. So trust me, you're only going to get out of the study what you put into it.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And we would read a chapter and bring it to the study that week. And everybody, once they saw how real we were, then they started relaxing, like, oh wow, they're putting their business out there. I guess we can say something too.
Right.
Yeah, when you do a study like that, you have to be transparent.
That's right.
So I was hesitant because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want my marriage on display. I'm good. I don't want no trouble over in this well. But when you have something good, it does you no good to keep it to yourself.
That's right.
Like I like coffee, right? And so God said, as more as I fill, the more I fill up your cup, you're going to have an overflow.
Mm-hmm.
And when I overfill your cup of coffee, all that's spilling out, that's the blessings for those that you guys are going to be with.
That's right.
That is in, it still doesn't take away all of your blessings.
That's right.
Amen.
So I want you to just trust me through this and be able to display what I need you to show. Now, it was great. People saw me as shy. They knew me one-on-one and they knew what I can be one-on-one. But it was a great thing. And some of the men I didn't really know, so they got to know me. They would come up to me now like, oh, I'm so glad, you guys did this for us or whatever. But that first night was so tense, you could hear a pin drop. And when we came home, we had to pray before we could even deal with each other because it was just so like, whoa, God, you didn't warn us about this. And these are people that go to our church. Some of them are leaders, and this is a lot, to take on.
Yeah.
But he said, you guys just show them transparency. Just show them how marriages are. You guys, as a husband and wife, are to be best friends.
Yes.
You're to be trustworthy, be able to trust one another. That's what they needed to see.
Mm-hmm.
And then they needed to know how to be authentic, not to be ashamed. And then they all discovered over time is that marriage is being vulnerable. Mm-hmm. It requires vulnerability. Mm-hmm. And if you can't be vulnerable to the one that you said I do to, then that's not for you. If you can't be if that person can't trust you, then that's not for you. You can't be honest. You should be able to do that. And I think over time we had to pick books. They were biblically based scriptures in there, and they were things that dealt with every matter that attended to that each couple had. And over time we got it. Now we started out with a lot of couples, but we didn't end with a lot of couples. Mm-hmm. Some did not survive it because it's like this. God said, I need you on a straight or narrow path. Mm-hmm. Some gonna be hot, some gonna be lukewarm, but God needs you one temperature. And they weren't ready for that. And so they didn't make it. So you have to leave them on they fall off, but you still pray for them and you still try to encourage them. And you try to just maintain with the ones that are here. And that's what we did. It wasn't easy because it was always some tough times. But marriage, you hear people say, oh, marriage is a challenge. Is it really? Because if you work on yourself to not be the part that's being challenging, then, you can reciprocate whatever. I like how Darrell said it, we're going to take off our representative, because when we say I do, the representative leave and say you're on your own. We can't keep up with what all the representative was persuading the other spouse that I'm really not, right? So it's just being real and genuine and transparent, and not only just transparent with other couples, but transparent with one another. And that was the thing about Darrell and I. When we really got started with the couples Bible study, God showed us why we were the one. The way we got together was so different from each and every one of those couples that got together. And what it showed them was that when you have God in the center from the beginning, this is what you see. So this is why they didn't look like they had no trouble at the well, but they had challenges, different types of challenges, but they knew how to maneuver through it. And then, just teaching them along the way. And the funny thing about this, we had a couple that was about to celebrate 50 years of marriage. Yes. And they said, we needed this 32 years ago. To God be the glory. They just celebrated 60 years.
Come on.
And so from 2012 to now, that has been the best years of their 60 years of being married.
That's yes.
So, and I always tell people, I said, we make a mess, but God can bless a mess. We make the mess, and we want God to come and mold us and shape us. We always ask him to put us on the powder wheel. He already put you on the powder wheel. Now try to pick up those crumbled pieces and make them to what he made them to be. We bring in all the mess. So
that's right.
We just need to try to just realize that, and not wear our feelings on our sleeves, not get so emotional behind so much. And then the main thing between spouses and marriages is get out of your head. Because when you're in your head, you got all these things thinking about it. So what you really need to do is to get into the Word of God, so he can deal with your heart. And you see that you're not married to your enemy. You see that you're not sleeping with an enemy. And you see that we need to nurture what we have. We have to keep the flame burning. It may be flickering, but what other oil do you need to add in it to keep that flame steady? So marriage, I love it. I didn't, because I am a product of marriage, I'm only going to teach marriage. I'm only going to promote marriage. When I was single and living a life of singleness unto God's glory, I taught that to the single women. But now I have a new role. And so as you can tell now, I just walk in it. You just do you. God don't want me to be nobody else but me.
That's right.
He don't want me to do it no other kind of way. I gave you examples, but I've already made you guys an example. And now we just try to show the love that we want our children to foster in relationships as they grow. And that's really it. I mean, it's not an easy thing to teach Bible study, especially when couples go through, but we have to be compassionate. We have to be empathetic. And most of all, we have to give them God's undying love.
Come on, from the Bible study. And then eventually the pastor put us over married couples ministry. So that's the other piece of answering your question. Yes. So now we had 7 years of people like, no, you need to go talk to them. Like, they're real, they're not going to judge, right? So now, before a couple gets married at our church, they have to come through us. If they want any of our pastors to marry them, they have to come through us. If they don't, then they can get married outside the church. But the ones that do come through us, they walk away with it. Like, man, I'm so glad I got this foundation, because I didn't know I was carrying on, all this other extra baggage, from my dad or my mom or my dad not being in my life. And so I think that's what got us to where we are today. Just, the Bible study, and really having a heart. Like, man, we don't want to be the only couple to go out to dinner. Like, we want all 7 of us. Let's roll out deep. Let's take over Outback. And like, man, look at all these happy couples. Like, that was like our goal. Like, our goal isn't for us to have the best marriage in the world. Our goal is for as many of us as possible to have the best marriages in the world.
And we did that because on a night where it was Valentine's Day, we planned a dinner out. We called a restaurant, made reservations, so all 12 couples went out to dinner for Valentine's Day. There was something else. I started out with Bible study. I baked a cake and I brought it for dessert. I made cookies one week, and then one day I just made a meal. And then all of a sudden they said, well, can we all just sign up? So our Bible study was fellowshipping with a meal every Thursday.
Chat and chew.
And we called it Chat and Chew. I called it that.
I like that.
And every week we didn't know what we were going to have for dinner because the couples put their love and heart into it. And what it was is, even if you didn't cook as a husband, they did their part to support and do whatever it was. And so we taught them how to grow together, how to do something as simple as just making dinner or making a meal or planning it, whether you bought it, got it catered. It really didn't matter. And we didn't even ask for much. If all you got is potato chips and a soda or drink or water, we're okay with that.
Right.
That wasn't even the point. The matter was that it was dinner time. Some of us are running from work. You don't have to worry about it. We got it, know. So that just spilled over to Alliance Seminars coaching, and we got our Master Certified Life Coach, even though we had our ministerial license. But we realized that not all couples that need help are faith-based. Mm-hmm. We want to reach the secular too, because there's a foundation to be learned from our life and from any other couple's life for those that are not faith-based. And so that is how, Alliance Seminars coaching has really just taken off and become what it's been to just share our experiences and to just, and we let our couples know it's not just after we do the coaching with you. We're here to see you out for a lifetime with your marriages. Because it's really not about the day of your marriage is just that, the day of your marriage.
Right.
It's the days after. That's when
right.
The enemy, like you said earlier, starting out, you say, I do, it's on. It's like we become the Jobs of the world.
Come on.
And that's what it is. And so, we have to just share people that even with challenges, no matter how deep or how heavy they are, when you put God in the mix of it, he works it out. But we also have to share, just even as a Christian foundation, is that without challenges, how can we grow? And so marriages is really what we discovered is marriage is the first opportunity to really show God's love. And it's on display every day.
That's right.
I think that's a valid point and an extremely important point people to get when you said that, without challenges, you can't grow. That's basic biology. That's based on God's design. When you look at everything that happens from a biological standpoint within the human body or even animals, just throughout trees, there's stress. It's those stressors that generate growth. You do a push-up, you start off, you can only do one push-up. And then it's a challenge. And there's soreness, there's lactic acid, there's the muscle fibers being torn. But when they come back together, that rebuilding, that growing enables you to be able to do 2 push-ups next time, 3 push-ups, a week later. And so it's that growth. And it's the exact same thing when it comes to our marriages. There has to be, unfortunately, to a certain extent, people's mindsets, there has to be some marital scar tissue, if you will, or some strictures that have to be developed in order for you to actually become stronger to withstand all the things the enemy is going to bring to your doorstep.
Very true.
Yes,
that's right.
And I love that you are doing it in such a strong and large fashion. Not just in the DMV area, but in, throughout the United States. I mean, because I know that people can reach out to you and have you do a variety of workshops, series, keynote speaking, so much
Yes.
more.
So there's something though I would like the you guys to talk about. I almost said I would like them like you weren't here. CPR. Tell us about CPR.
Yeah, that's one thing when we were thinking about how we wanted our coaching session to go. It was like, what do people need, right? We got some people that are looking for clarity. We got some marriages looking for purpose. And then we got a lot of marriages that's been there for a while, but they may not have been the healthiest. So they may need a little resuscitation. So as we were thinking about it, I was like, hey, clarity, purpose, and resuscitation. Yeah, that's because every marriage can use any of that depending
That's
on
right.
what season they're in, right?
That's right.
Clarity in the beginning, purpose maybe after you become an empty nester, right? Resuscitation based on you may have had a serious challenge, almost knocked your marriage off the rocker, and how do you put life back into that? So that's one thing. When it came to us, it was like, babe, that's really simple. CPR. Like everybody can identify with CPR, but now you talk about CPR for your marriage. And we always make sure one thing we do is, we're not providing CPR because you have a bad marriage. We're just saying we want to provide CPR so you can have a healthier marriage.
Yes.
It's hard for even, especially the guys. The women, they're like, I got it. I'm already there. But a guy, you can't tell a guy like, man, your marriage, is whack, you need to be better. But if you say healthier, a guy can get with healthy, like, oh yeah, I'm good with healthy. So that's kind of where CPR came from.
Yeah, and that's really one of the things we promote. We people always ask us the question is, what makes a perfect marriage? But our response is that there's no perfect marriages, but there are marriages that are out there that are healthy. And those are the ones that have gone through some stuff, and you wouldn't know it today because they learn how to work and navigate through it. And the only way you can work and navigate through it, we tell people, number one, through God, but then also through a mediator, someone like a coach. A coach, we take them from today forward. Like if you're in a situation and today is the issue, we can help you. But if it's something that's remnants of your past that is so deep, then we recommend a licensed counselor, whether it be a psychotherapist, whether it be a marriage counselor, because they can go deeper into the root cause of all of your past history. We're just trying to move you from today forward so that you can thrive. Because sometimes people say, if it wasn't for this situation right now, we wouldn't be. So that's why we just help them from today forward. We may have remnants of what happened yesterday, but it's nothing deeper than that. When it gets deeper, then you need the licensed therapist and counselors that can really help you navigate out of that. Individually and collectively, you have to go through those type of things to get yourselves together.
So I love this emphasis on healthiness. So it leads me to my next question. I just got to know, what is a healthy hookup?
So a healthy hookup really came from, I remember hearing a T.D. Jakes sermon a long time ago, where you would hear a lot of people say, I can't find the right person. I can't find the right person. Everybody I meet. And it got to the point, one of my sayings was, well, instead of looking for the right person, why don't you just practice being the right person?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then if you practice being the right person, and somebody else is practicing to be the right person, and then God can put y'all together, then it's going to be healthy. It's not going to be perfect, but you have a healthier foundation to move forward. Right, kind of like what you said earlier, Ernie, about some of those military couples, and it happened in the civilian world too. People come together for the wrong reason, right? I didn't have a dad. I need to put a male in my life. I never had love. I need to find love in my life. I'm tired of being single. I need two incomes. It's like those are not healthy reasons to come together. But like Veronica said, even if you come together for the wrong reasons, over time, God can still make that marriage healthy. And guess what? Now you become that testimony. That's one thing we used to always tell our couple. We're not going to be able to help everybody. But when we pour into you guys, God's going to take y'all and you're going to bless the couples in your neighborhood, in your environment, right, that are around you. And then that's how healthiness continues to grow.
That's beautiful. Yeah,
And
when you
healthy is, just one more thing to the healthiness. It's learning how to just be the authentic you, to talk in an amicable way, to try to find a resolution to the problem versus avoiding it and avoiding talking about it, because that's really where all that the stress and the strain comes in the marriage, is that when we don't really deal with what's at hand, is avoiding it and keep putting layers and layers on it. We want to continue to pull back that onion, and then that's how it gets to being healthy.
Well, it's been a pleasure. I love that you've actually set aside some time to talk with us. And it's interesting. You know, we smile a lot during this interview because a lot of what you're saying, what you're sharing, what you're teaching, there's a lot of overlap. I mean, I won't say overlap. There's a lot of similarities. You know,
Sure.
Yeah.
when we talk about being married into crazy, you know, crazy stands for being compassionate,
Yes.
real, accountable, zealous, and yielding. And you hit on every one of those in your ministry as well. And I really love that. So Snooks has this one question that she always asks.
Yeah.
So, okay, he just told you what crazy stands for. What is of the acronym? What do you find to be the easiest for you to do or for you to be out of being compassionate, real, accountable, zealous, or yielding?
I think when I hear about the real comes to me, that's always the biggest one because, like me, it's a badge of honor when I go to places and they go, "Yo, I didn't even know you were the pastor like that. Why you let me curse like that?" And I'm like, "Because I'm not a pastor right now. I'm watching a football game with you. I'm at your house. I'm doing this, or we're in the office, you know, just chilling. We're talking." And they're like, "Yeah, but I wouldn't have been doing all that cursing." I'm like, dude, that's okay. That don't offend me, man. I grew up in Compton. I'm okay with that. So to me, the realness is good because that transfers over to anything else.
Yeah.
So when a lot of wives, they can connect with Veronica right away. They're like, but my husband, you know, he don't like putting his business out there like that. Well, when they introduce us and we get to talk, you know, I don't come straight off talking about marriage. I'm like, "Yo, what's your favorite team?" You know, then I take it from sports or music, whatever they want to come from. God's given me the gift, like, yo, create that relationship from whatever that is. And people know me in a minute, you know, movies, like I can find a way to tie your football team in a movie to a marriage principle in a minute. So for me, that's the realness part that just makes it very simple to connect through.
Yep.
Love it. So you concur, same for you, Veronica?
I would say real, because you just have to be who you are, and I think it's straight talk. You just have to come to people with straight talk. We get so much of the fuzzy stuff all the time, but when they hear that you're real and like they genuinely see your realness and your true compassion towards them, I think that's what draws them to say, "Oh, I can open up to her. I can get with her. I can tell her, and I can, that's how I'm able talking with them. They can find out, like, wow, it's me. I've been blaming him the whole time,
Yeah.
So when you're real and that's the thing about, we all have friends, right? And then we always hear about girlfriends or whatever. Girlfriends tell you the truth. And in marriages, and no matter who you are in life, people just really want the truth. People haven't been telling them the truth in so long that they're waiting for the fuzzy. But being real and telling people about you, about them, they don't. And when people ask you a question, when you're real, do you want the truth or do you just want me to just sugarcoat it?
Right.
And when they said, I want the real thing, I said, well, be ready, sit down, get ready for it.
Right.
And I think that's what draws people when they realize that you're genuine and that you're real, that you don't, you're just being yourself. The truth is the truth, and you're not going to shake it, for something else. And people, out of the realness, that's what gives them the comfort to say, "Oh, I can open up and share. I can be authentic. I can share. I can take all of that and give that to them." So, yeah, I think the real is for me as well.
Nice. Well, let me ask. So let everybody know, how can people find Veronica and Darrell? I mean, and Alliance seminars. So give us all your handles. How can people reach out to you, connect, and utilize your services?
So interesting. So you can obviously find us on Facebook through Alliance Seminars Coaching, and then our website, allianceseminars.org. Those are the two main ways. And it's so funny when we talk to different people and they're like, man, you got background is so crazy and you've done so much, dealt with miscarriages. Like y'all should be, speaking all over the world and trying to get as many couples. And we always tell them, like, that's not what God has gave us. Like, we still are raising twins, right? We got 10th grade twins. So why would we try to be chasing all these different clients and traveling all over the world and then, have kids that's failing in school? It's like, there's a time and a season for all of that. So a lot of our clients are either through the church or friends of the church or people in the neighborhood that found out what we do. So, we like people like, man, we can't even book y'all on your website. You don't have a calendar. I'm like, we're not trying to get booked like that. Like, we're really into more of that one-on-one close relationship. We're not trying to get 5-6 couples every month. Right, we got about 2 or 3, and we just pour into those 2 or 3. And then once we get past them, God always gives us another 2 or 3. Right. So Facebook and the website, that's the best way to find us. But everybody knows that, if you just want to reach out and just say, hey, I don't need a whole 6-step session. I just want to talk. We're available for that too.
Where you're located, I would hope that it's funny that one of the largest segments of people that listen to the podcast happen to be in the DMV area.
Okay.
So and we don't know why. I got family, half my family's down in that area in Virginia, but I guarantee they're not the ones listening.
Gotcha.
But I know that just based on your proximity to the White House, if we could just get folks in the Capitol to talk to you, to reach out to you, to work on their marriages. And I believe that would then, go ahead and help build our nation from the Capitol out. So I encourage everybody in the DMV area, to not overwhelm, but to definitely be aware of you and to reach out as needed.
Definitely here for anybody, because like I said, our main goal is we want as many healthy marriages as possible.
Yes.
That's right. I feel like the healthier you are in your marriage, that's going to exude outside of your home, and that's going to show to other people. The happier other people are, then the happier everyone else is. Just think about how when the holiday season comes, everyone is so nice and is, oh pardon me, oh thank you, and then as soon as January 15 come, everyone's back to being grumpy and grouchy again. And I always say Christmas is my favorite time of the year, but I'm like, if everyone could just have this type of attitude all the time, we wouldn't be where we are like right now. But I also believe that it starts in your home. And if me and my spouse are on the same page, we're loving, we're happy, he's still my boyfriend. I tell people that. I'd be like, oh, I'm going out with my boyfriend tonight, and they're like, wait, what? And I'm like, it's Lovey, but anyway.
Awesome.
If we had that type of attitude, I love coming home and talking to him sometimes. And
she said sometimes.
No, I was just gonna say, it's so funny, Veronica, how you hit the nail on the head when you were talking about the conversations. Babe, I just need you to listen right now. I don't want you to fix it, because Lovey goes right to fix it mode. And I'm like, I'm not even done with what I was saying. Okay, what you need to do is blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, I just need you to listen. I don't need you to do anything else, So I appreciate y'all reminding him that he needs to just listen and not fix it. But it's so true though. If couples could have that type of love for each other, it would exude outside of just them, and we could just change the world,
Absolutely.
So we appreciate y'all.
Right. And ultimately marriage is supposed to be fun.
Yes.
You shouldn't have all of those stresses.
Yes.
Because think about when you are
nothing we control.
Yeah, you control it. So individually, you need to be healthy, and then collectively, you can be healthy. And that's what I want to say. You work on the whole you, and then when you connect with someone else and their whole, that's where the healthy meets in.
Yeah.
Amen. And in closing, everything that you're talking about and you're saying right now just reminds me of, you familiar with Tony Evans?
Yes. Love
You know,
him.
I remember years ago, I was at a Promise Keepers conference. And I remember Tony, and it just sticks with me to this day, that Tony Evans was talking about how if you want to create better men, and of course the focus was on men, but he goes, you know what? Then you need to be a better man in your house. And then when you can be a better man in your house, then you can actually focus on being a better man in your neighborhood. And then when you're a better man in your neighborhood. So I'm saying the same thing about our marriages. If you want to be around more like-minded couples, we call it the Iron Tribe based on Proverbs, right? Iron sharpens iron. We think that couples should sharpen couples, but be a better couple in your home, then be a better couple in your neighborhood, and then in your community, and then in your city. And then that's how it emanates out. And that's exactly what you're doing in the DMV area. And I can honestly say that we love you for that. I think that there's so many people that you've been blessing, and I can't wait to see how many more couples that you're able to bless because of God's blessing on your life. Continue to help bless that mess.
Yes.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And then we love the fact that, again, just like you just said, because we keep telling people it's not just us, right? You know, we get to brag now and say, hey, we know a couple, Ernie and Rhonda, they're awesome out there. And if you want to find somebody that's closer to you, reach out to them. So that's another thing we love is being able to make recommendations. And it's so funny because people say, well, isn't that competition? I'm like, no, this is not a competition. If they feel more comfortable with them, we want them to get whoever they feel comfortable with, because that's really what it's all about. And I like how you said that, the marital iron, sharpens iron.
And marriage is a network. If we can't help them, why not give them to someone else that is? Because Darrell and I have not experienced a lot of issues that a lot of couples have, and that's what we do with our couples. We connect them with a couple that we know of that had a similar issue and that are now living healthier, so that they can learn how to get through it. Because we might not have experienced that. So marriage is a network. And that's what you build. It's like in our jobs and our careers, we have to have a marriage network. Married people need to stick together.
That's right.
What I can't do for you, I do know another couple that can. And we've always been that way, even in youth ministry and women's ministry, all in our entire life. We're just givers. And I think by us being givers, that's why we don't look for a reward, because we know that God has always blessed us, always put a stamp of approval for anything that we want to do, because we don't hold it in. Nothing is good for us if we hoard it. We have to let it go.
I love that.
I like that. Yeah.
Well, look, everyone, this has been an amazing couple. I hope you've learned a lot here. And feel free to reach out to them. Again, you can always get back to them. And we're going to put it in our show notes where you can actually reach out to them at allianceseminars.org, as well as Alliance Seminars Coaching on Facebook. Like we always say, until the next time,
Be blessed.
All right. Bye.